Bill Baldwin is Hartman Baldwin CEO. He joins us this morning. Bill, appreciate you taking some time in a very difficult week. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me. I want to start with just my heart's going out to everybody who's been involved in this. I've been involved in this for decades and have been involved in rebuilding with fires before. And what we're seeing here is just unprecedented. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I think the whole country's realized that very quickly. Bearing in mind that the top priority is caring for the people and families of LA, do you think eventually we're going to graduate to a rebuilding mindset? And if so, how is that going to look or sound different?
I think they will. I think these communities will come back even stronger than ever. I think that on top of all the grief and loss, they have to brace for some timing. It will take a while between clearing land and getting permits and building, drawing plans and getting the estimates done before we can get them back on their feet. But that timing actually will help from a building point of view, because that timing required with these houses where there's total losses will allow the building arts industry, the architects, builders, engineers to gear up and brace up to help these people. I know everybody in my industry is now trying to figure out how do we best help, and it'll be a regional thing too. It will not just be local. Right.
We mentioned construction technology. Is that a big piece of this? How buildings are going to look and be built differently beyond the buffer zones and policies of the past?
Absolutely. When you look at, especially in the Eaton fire in Altadena, a lot of these homes that contributed the dominoing from what was a forest fire into an urban fire, these are 60, 80, 100-year-old homes, and they were very vulnerable, and it just dominoed through. What we're going to see now is everything's going to be built to more modern fire standards. So again, that, in terms of fire-resistant materials, landscaping, buffer zones around the house, these houses, it will be significantly better than what we've seen here, and it'll be much more resistant to what has happened here. And we'll make them insurable, which is a huge issue in California too. So yeah, the building technologies will weigh in large, and I think will be a huge part of rehabilitating these communities.
I mean, making them insurable is one question. Another, Bill, is the timing, because typically, doesn't California have very onerous permitting and regulatory statutes when it comes to development? I know Governor Newsom suspended some on the environmental acts, for instance, in terms of rebuilding on the fire. But what else gives you any sort of indication on how long this will take?
I think that's just going to be the start. They're going to have to figure out how to kind of move more quickly through other aspects of the building permit process. But again, there's going to be some time involved. Given the loss that's gone on here, I hate to say this to the homeowners, but there will be some timing involved. There's going to be a lot of people coming to the table. I think the fact that we have total loss here and we have time involved is going to help us gear up for it. But yeah, there's going to be some time. People are going to have some patience with this.
Bill, there is a question from some as to whether there should be rebuilding in some of these areas at all, given the changes in the environment, what climate change has done, the expectation for continued periods of great drought, and what that will mean for fire risk. How do you see it?
Yeah, and I think, everything's an educational process. Just like earthquakes in the past, we learn from them and we adjust in how we build. This is an unprecedented fire. Santa Anas are common here. 30 to 40 mile an hour winds, 60 mile an hour bursts, but this was 100 mile an hour winds. So we're going to have to adjust and learn from this. And there may be certain sites that are going to be far more challenging to rebuild on, and we'll have to take that into consideration. There'll be an education process to this, and that'll have to be looked at in terms of some areas. Can we build back on them or not?